Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, this will be for all our good friends directly south of us down there in Oregon. They have been going through a very similar struggle to us up here in Washington State, which is namely their state legislature hates them. The legislative session has just wrapped up down there in Oregon, and it could have been a complete and utter bloodbath. It turned out to not be that bad, but there is one piece of legislation that's going to go into effect on September 26th, and I don't like the way the legislature set this up, and it could spell problems for a lot of you. So let's talk about that today. So today, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about a new gun law that could turn you into a criminal overnight. Okay, Oregon, and anyone else who wants to wallow in their misery. It's been a while. So last time we talked is when ballot measure 114 was getting the big thumbs up. We're going to talk today about Senate Bill 243, passed by your state legislature, signed by your governor, and will go into effect on September 26th of this year. I want you to be aware of that. Now, in a nutshell, what this does is two things. Number one, it bans all types of rapid-fire devices, okay? Your bump stocks, your forced reset triggers, your wide-open triggers. We'll get technical here in a moment so you know exactly what we're talking about. And then it also creates a whole bunch of new gun-free zones where it doesn't matter what your concealed carry status is, you don't get to carry a firearm there no matter what. And that is going to be essentially whatever small municipality, local government, county, or anything like that just decides they want to make as gun-free zones when it comes to their buildings. Okay, the Community Safety Firearms Act, or Senate Bill 243, bans what the state of Oregon now calls rapid-fire activators. And it does two things. This is what the law does. A person commits the crime of unlawful transport, manufacture, or transfer of a rapid-fire activator if the person knowingly transports a rapid-fire activator into this state, or B, manufactures, sells, or offers to sell, or transfers a rapid-fire activator. And that will be a Class B felony starting September 26th. So if you are dealing in these things or importing them into the state, you face felony charges. But Oregon, you need to be aware of something else, because I'm imagining that many of you have these and you lawfully purchase them, you lawfully possess them, you have lawfully used them, but you need to be aware of the other portion of this prohibition. A person commits the crime of unlawful possession of a rapid-fire activator if the person knowingly possesses, purchases, or receives a rapid-fire activator. And that would be a Class A misdemeanor. Now, presumably, the first section clearly bans the commercial sale of those inside the state of Oregon. So the ability to accumulate would be theoretically legally impossible September 26th. But many of you watching this video right now may actually possess those items. And here's the thing. There is, and I want you to know, there is absolutely no grandfathering clause, no amnesty period, no anything written in here. There's no instructions on what do you do with them. There's no safe haven where if you surrender it to law enforcement before that date or by that date or anything like that. No. They're going to presume that you know the law and then understand that if you're merely possessing one of these devices standing alone, that will constitute Class A misdemeanor criminal activity under Oregon law. And understand that when we're talking about rapid fire activators, what the state of Oregon has defined them as is rapid fire activator includes but is not limited to a bump stock, forced reset trigger, trigger crank, hellfire trigger, binary trigger system, burst trigger system, switch, auto sear, or a copy or similar device regardless of the producer or manufacturer. And then if you want to know how they're defining each one of those particular devices, they have done so. We're going to go ahead and link that up and not bore you with all of those details. Okay, so Oregon, you need to be aware that if you possess any one of these enhanced triggers, forced reset triggers, wide open triggers, anything of that nature whatsoever, if you still possess those come September 26th, you are engaged in criminal activity and could subject yourself to criminal prosecution. What's the likelihood of that occurring? I'm not even going to get into that because there's 1,000 different variables that go into it. But I am giving you the stuff to think about here, okay? Now, the other thing that this bill will do is it allows now local governments to create a large swath of gun-free zones themselves. So regardless of whether you're a completely lawful concealed carrier, which the state of Oregon told you that, as long as you do that and prove to us you're a responsible person, we'll let you carry firearms in most areas. Well, Oregon, welcome to reality now, because those areas will continue to get smaller and smaller, a la what's happened in California, a la what's happening in Washington State. The legislation now creates the following authority. The governing body of a city, a county, or a district, as defined in Oregon law, may adopt a policy, ordinance, or regulation providing that the affirmative defense described in Oregon law concerning persons licensed to carry a concealed handgun does not apply to the possession of firearms within a building owned or controlled by the governing body that is used by the governing body for official meetings. Okay, and as you know, Oregon, you have restrictions on open carry in a lot of government buildings, and then there are exceptions for concealed carry. This would allow local governments to basically waive those exemptions, which means the possession of any kind of firearm, regardless of your concealed carry status, regardless of how the firearm is being carried, would in fact be unlawful. Now, they're also going to require a big posting of signs. Translation, you have created now another gun-free zone, which is a place where if someone with really, really ill intent knows that they can go and not face armed resistance. And you can say that with confidence because the statute does not say then that we'll allocate more funds to secure these areas through armed security guards to make sure that everyone is actually safe. No, instead it's just we're going to disarm the licensed concealed carriers, which have already demonstrated to the state of Oregon that they, in fact, are not the problem. Okay, so Oregon, once again, the enactment date is September 26th of this year. For those of you in possession of items, you may want to go back and take a look what happens when everyone was freaking about the solvent traps and the early force reset trigger issues, and those who wanted to dispossess themselves of those things. You might be able to find some advice on that if that's what you so desire. Listen, once again, it is Senate Bill 243. We're going to link it up down below so that you can geek out on it for yourself. You don't have to take our word for it. If you got any other questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now. But if you don't, that's okay. That information is down there in the description box. If you got an idea for video we should be doing around here, you click on that link right there and tell us all about it. You want to subscribe to the monthly newsletter, that information is down there in the description box. And then finally, and most importantly, let's everyone remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.